Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 10 o'clock news continues on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
8 people are dead after a truck drove onto a Manhattan bike path today in what investigators call a deliberate act of terror. Kenneth Craig has the latest from New York.
We got multiple casualties. This is a mass casualty situation here.
The deadliest terror attack in New York City since 9/11 unfolded Monday in the shadow of the new World Trade Center.
This was an act of terror, and a particularly cowardly act of terror.
Just after 3 p.m., a white pickup truck jumped a curb and drove onto a bike path running alongside the West Side Highway. The vehicle continued south for several blocks, striking more than a dozen people. It came to a halt when it smashed into a school bus in Chambers Street. The driver got out and started to walk across the roadway. Witnesses said he appeared to be heavily armed.
I just saw him walking down the streets there with his gun in his hands.
Police officers confronted the man. They shot him once in the abdomen. The weapons were not real.
The subject was wounded and transported to a local hospital. A paintball gun and a pellet gun were recovered at the scene.
Federal law enforcement source tells CBS News that investigators found a note inside the truck that made reference to ISIS.
The suspect has been identified as Sayfullo Saipov, a 29-year-old Uzbekistan native who lives in Florida. Officials believe he acted alone, and they say there's no evidence this attack was part of a larger plot. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
And the victims' identities have yet to be made public. Memorial arrangements have been announced for former Montana Governor Judy Martz, who died on Monday. A celebration of life for Martz will be held Saturday at the Butte Civic Center starting at 11 a.m. The former governor also will be lying in state from 9 a.m. to 4:30 on Friday at the Capitol Rotunda in Helena. The Martz family says the public is welcome at both events. 74-year-old Martz died at her home Monday in Rocker after a long battle with pancreatic cancer. Martz was Montana's first and only female governor. A Republican from Butte, Martz won election as governor in 2000 and served a single term from 2001 to 2004. An Idaho man died on Highway 200 Monday night after his vehicle was hit by an elk that went airborne after being struck by another vehicle. The Montana Highway Patrol reported the crash happened around 7 p.m. on Highway 200 just west of Potomac when a Toyota Scion being driven by a 21-year-old woman from Great Falls struck an elk that entered the roadway and sent the animal airborne. The elk then struck a Dodge Ram 3500 pickup truck being driven by a 21-year-old man from Salmon, Idaho. MHP reports the pickup truck then went off the roadway and hit several embankments. The driver was declared dead on the scene. The woman from Great Falls was taken to St. Patrick Hospital to be checked out, but was not hurt in the accident. Both drivers involved were wearing seatbelts, and no alcohol or drugs are suspected. Coming up, the cancer support community in Kalispell gets a big boost in the form of a grant. And later in sports, the Grizz have had their struggles this season, but Derek shows us why they are confident they can turn it around after the break.